Welcome to the raw and uncensored Ambitchious Podcast. During our time here together, I will be instilling all of the strength, power, and determination you will need to use the very stones thrown at you to build your ultimate empire. We will redefine the word bitch from the derogatory to the acronym being in total control of herself. So let's adjust our crowns and prepare to live life ambitiously.
Yeah, here I am, the original HBIC, Katie motherfucking Boyd. And on today's episode of the Ambitchious Podcast, it is entitled, Step Up or Shut Up. That's right, I am so fucking sick and tired of everybody flapping their gums and running their mouths, but not doing shit about it. And this is going to be a massively in your face, fuck you in the ass, no holds barred podcast. And I think that when I get gangster, people really love a good Ambitchious Podcast where Katie is off the rails, because you guys, it is time to step up or shut the fuck up. When you're stepping up, you can say whatever the fuck you want. But when you're just talking shit and you're not putting your money where your mouth is, this is why we live in a society of victim mentality, motherfuckers. And I am sick of it. I'm sick of the energy. I'm sick of doing all the things and everyone else can be just mediocre motherfuckers. And it's time to kibosh this shit and go to the next level. Or not. That's okay too. If you just want to be a mediocre motherfucker, it is your right to be. But stop complaining about your mediocre, shitty life when you're not doing the things that it takes to go to the next level, or you're even dumber than a bag of dicks because you don't even realize that you're being in victim mentality in the first place. So I am going to give you all the ways that you're showing up as a mediocre motherfucker stuck in the whirlpool of hypnotic rhythm of victim mentality. And then after you feel really fucking bad about yourself, because that's sometimes you gotta fucking just smack people with the truth. I'm gonna fuck up some bitches with some beautiful truth. Then we're gonna get into how to actually change it and go to the next level. Okay, but before we start, you guys know I love to pull a good witch card. So you can get these cards on my KBMFC website and just scroll down to the show notes and head on over to kbmfc.com and pick up a witch card. And they are literally the best cards in the entire world. Okay, you all ready? So as you know, we're going to get rid of the old energy from the last reading and we're going to call in our power posse. All right. First, we're going to knock out old energy. Hear me knocking. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Wow. Okay, I'm going to shuffle it up. If you're watching at home, don't make fun. Poor girl can't shuffle to save her life. I can do a lot of other things, but shuffling is not my thing. Okay, so we're going to call in our power posse. So you're going to go ahead. I'm going to place my hand over the card deck. I'm going to take a nice deep breath, filling up our lungs. Exhaling all the way out. God, Goddess, Universal Life Force Energy, all of our guardians and guides and loved ones who are no longer here on this three-dimensional earth plane, and all of our ancestors who came before us, and our family of galactic beings of light. Surround us and fill up our vessels with your light and your love and your ancient wisdom. Help us set the tone for today's podcast. Help us come out of any fog that we may be feeling, any cognitive dissonance, and help give us the message that we desire today to break us out of hypnotic rhythm and to remind us who we are so that we can step into our power fully and become the HBICs of our most ambitious life. In Jesus' name, amen, and thank you in advance. And so it is. Okay, y'all ready? Ooh, what am I feeling today? I feel this guy right here. Ooh, okay. This is the storyteller. No, I'm lying to you. It's the story keeper. So if you're watching this on YouTube at home, what a beautiful card. These cards are so gorgeous, aren't they? They have the gold trim. The backs are so beautiful. The book is gorgeous. Okay, I haven't pulled this card in a really long time, so I don't remember what it's about, but we shall see. So all you got to do is go to number 2 in the book, the story keeper. Here we go. So that's on page 29. And this is what it says. You are made of moonlight and stories. The night and the trees know this. which is why when you need a change in your narrative, you would do well to seek their counsel. Some stories lift us up and encourage our potential, our inherent magic. Other stories limit, diminish, or destroy our worth. Is this not so on point with our fucking podcast today? I mean, my nipples are so hard they could cut glass. Oh, I love when spirit just works through me. Yeehaw. Okay. Other stories limit, diminish, or destroy our worth. You are being asked right now to consider which stories you are listening to and which ones you are telling. Oh my God, I have chills. Telling yourself a story of empowerment will bring a surge of energy to you. Notice how your shoulders drop, your breath deepens, your heart warms. Telling yourself a story of scarcity or disempowerment leaves you tight, small, and cramped. While we are very selective about the books we read and the stories we watch on film, we are far less selective about the stories we tell ourselves. Now is the time to question the narratives you're allowing into the ear of your spirit. Are they helpful or are they hurtful? A woman in total control of herself acknowledges her stories of lack and frustration, but she chooses to focus on the ones that nurture her vitality. Oh my God. This is so in alignment. This is so in alignment with what I channeled for today's podcast, Step Up or Shut Up, because I'm going to talk to you all about the stories that you're telling yourself and why you're stuck in this victim mentality and why, unfortunately, because you're in this victim mentality, that you can't truly step into your power and become the HBIC of your life, right? Okay. I'm not even going to pontificate on that card anymore because it was just so on the money. Okay. So today's podcast, Step Up or Shut Up. 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 Step the fuck up or shut the fuck up. That's literally all I have to say, but I'm going to say more because it's a podcast. But seriously, if I could just give the humans on this earth one collective message, it would be step up or shut up. Okay. So the first part of this podcast, I'm going to give you some real true signs and just stories and narratives that you're showing up in, and you may not even realize that you are. That's why you're leading this really shitty, mediocre, not very ambitious life. And then I'm going to give you all the ways where you can get out of that hypnotic rhythm. Remind yourself who the fuck you are so that you can live the rest of your life the best of your life. Okay? Y'all ready? Okay. I would love to have a conversation about this too on my Instagram or wherever we conversate, because I just think that this is just such an eye-opening experience. And there's a lot of shit on this list that I have done and still kind of sometimes do now and in the past that I had to also fashion and channel this podcast for myself as well, because if you're living in this day and age, I'm sure that there's times where you're showing up as the victim. I'm sure that you're making excuses of why you can't and people and this and that. But the more we know, the better that we can do. Or if you know better and you don't do better, you're just a dumb ass bitch. Okay? Call a spade a spade. Just being a dumbass bitch, a broke ass hoe, and no one has time for it. Okay, so here's some signs that you may hear and be like, fuck, I am doing this. But I think that the first step is to admit you have the problem and then to move on from there. You guys ready? Okay, here we go. The first way that you're not stepping up and you're staying in that low vibrational frequency victim mentality is you are always looking at everything in the world with a negative light, in a negative connotation. Like everything is negative. You're stuck. This person did this to me and that thing sucks and that's not good enough and I don't like this and this is why I can't, and making all these excuses why everything is negative. Whatever you focus on in your life, that is what you're going to attract to your life. So if you're like me, where everything is always working out in your favor, everything is working for your highest, greatest good, you trust the universe, you know that you're an amazing human, you know that you're serving humanity, you know that you're using your gifts and your talents to help awaken the world. I just think positive all the time. And when I get tired and when I get burnt out and I'm people pleasing and I'm giving too much of myself, that's when I get in those doldrums. That's when I'm like, oh, everything sucks, everything sucks, everything sucks, everyone's an asshole. People suck, this sucks, that sucks. So whatever you focus on is going to be your reality. Wherever your attention flows, that's where energy goes. So if you're living in a very negative minded life, then you're going to have negative experiences. When you're showing up in a positive way, you're going to have positive experiences. That's just the law of the universe. Like attracts like. So do you do this? Because I certainly do sometimes, and especially when I'm feeling weak and not so fresh. That's why it's so important to fill up your own cup and really have those self-care moments sprinkled throughout your day so that you're not showing up in a burnt out bitch energy. Okay? The next way that you are showing up and you're not stepping up is you're asking yourself why. Why me? Why does this always happen to me? Why do people always treat me that way? Why does this person act like this? Why does that happen? Why? You're always getting the short end of the stick. That's not true. Again, it's the people that you're surrounding yourself with are probably low vibrational frequency, parasitical pieces of shit, energy vampires. That's number one. And you need to ask yourself more empowering questions. We're going to get to that when I actually give you all the things. But if you're showing up every day and you're saying, why does this always happen to me? Then you're probably really stuck in that mediocre mentality, that victim energy. The next thing you do a lot is you mull over things. You ruminate. That's what we call it in the psychological world. Rumination. So like something happens to you and instead of just being like, oh, that sucked, and then just move on, you'll think about it for hours and sometimes even days. I have people that I know that I've coached that will ruminate on things for months, even years. They'll still say, oh, in third grade, this thing happened to me and that's why I can't do fill in the blank. And that is a bad way to show up in the world. You are never going to have a happy life. You're never going to be the head bitch in charge of your life. You're never going to have an ambitious life. You're always going to have the shit end of the stick because you're choosing it because you just don't let things go. The next thing is you don't think very highly of yourself. You're just like, nothing good ever happens to me. I'm not that smart. I'm not that beautiful. I'm not that fill in the blank. Instead of having these empowering thoughts, you're continuously having these disempowering thoughts. And it's just this loop that goes around and around and around and around in your mind. Now, a lot of this is old programming. A lot of this is from your family of origin. It's like maybe they thought this way. So then you kind of adopted this as like just the way that you think as well, even though there's probably a part of you that knows that that's wrong, but you just keep doing it anyway because you're just like, well, this is what my mom did, and this is what my grandmother did, and this is what my great grandmother did, and so on and so forth. But we as ambitious women, and I talk about this in my book, Ambitchious. If you have not picked up my book yet, what the hell are you doing? It's on kbmfc.com. This is a fucking good read. It's juicy and amazing. But I talk a lot about this in my book, right? We have to think highly of ourselves. We have to be courageous. We have to be loving. We have to be open-minded. We have to roll with the punches, okay? We can't get stuck in this I'm not enough mentality because guess what? If you don't think you're enough and you don't think you're worthy, why should anyone else think that you're enough or worthy? Right? And then we go into that whole thing like, why do people always treat me like this? Because you treat yourself like this, right? The next one is you're always in anger. I know people, I've coached them, I've worked with them, I've trained them, I've done all kinds of things with them where they're always fucking angry. Anytime that anything ever happens to them, it's always anger is like the first emotion that they feel. And when we're constantly in that state of anger usually turns into resentfulness, and resentfulness is even a lower vibrational frequency energy than anger. So anger actually has a higher vibe than resentfulness. Resentfulness is like the worst energy that you can bring to the table as a human being, and it will only breed more anger, which will then breed more resentment. Really sit back right now and take a consensus. Say, am I an angry person? And am I a resentful person? And 9 times out of the 10, you probably are. I have a lot of anger issues. I'm working on them on a daily basis. And I get very resentful instead of just speaking up and being like, you know what? I don't like when you talk to me that way. I don't like when you show up like this. It makes me feel this, fill in the blank. Sometimes it's really just about telling people how we feel and saying no and using our words and speaking our truth and having immaculate, pristine boundaries so that you can get yourself out of that anger spiral, right? The next thing, why you're leading a very mediocre life and you're not stepping up, is you have like this why bother mindset. I call it the Eeyore mindset. It's like, oh, bother. What's even the point anyway? Just have some thistle and go fuck yourself. I mean, he didn't say that, but you get the picture, okay? You have that why bother mentality, which is a powerless mentality. It's like you say like, well, I'm too weak, or I'm too old, or I'm not smart enough, or things like this never happen for people like me. So why even try? I wanted to lose that weight and I've done it so many times, but it never works out. Or I wanted to make more money, or I wanted to find the man of my dreams, or I wanted to go on this vacation, but it never works out for me. Whatever you say is your reality. So if you have a why bother mindset, and then that why bother mindset just trickles down into not even trying in the first place and believing like, what's even the point? Then so too will be your reality, right? Power and death is in the tongue, right? Life and death is in the power of the tongue. So whatever you think and say will be your reality. So if you're like, what's the point of trying anyways? It's like, okay, then that's it. That's all she wrote, folks, right? The next thing is everyone has to always be giving you a pep talk. You're always constantly seeking fucking validation. And then what happens is these people end up hating you because they're constantly pouring into you and they're constantly trying to validate you and they're constantly trying to give you a pep talk. And then they spend all this time and effort and energy on you. And then you never even take their advice and put it into play in the first place. You know what that's like to be a human being surrounded by these low vibrational imbeciles that always need you to speak victory into them, but then you literally give them a TED talk that should change their lives and then they never do shit with the information. Sooner or later, those people are going to be like, fuck you and the horse that you rode in on, peace the fuck out, I'm done. And they're going to go find better friends that have more self-confidence and more self-esteem and that aren't fucking users. Because at the end of the day, if you constantly need that validation and reassurance and you always need someone to be pouring into you and pep talking you, the first couple of times they'll do it, but if the person's a smart individual, after a while, they're going to be like, fuck this. You know, I do that sometimes with my clients. Sometimes I do a discovery call and I say, this is a good fit. I really like this person. And sometimes it's usually because they're sheep in wolf's clothing and they showed up as their representative to the call and they bamboozled me into thinking that they were ready for this experience to take their lives to the next level. And then 3 or 4 months in, you're doing your sessions with them and you're like, I can't do this anymore because I've given this person millions of dollars of coaching and ideas and they still won't execute and they still want me to be blowing smoke up their skirt constantly. I don't give a fuck how much money I'm making. It's just not worth my time and energy because I deeply desire to work with women who are ready at this moment to take their lives and their businesses to multiple 6 and 7 figures and have that triple threat of freedom, which is financial and time and location. And they say that they want it, but then they don't want to do the things that it takes to be that person. And I say, stop wasting my motherfucking time. I will not allow it because I know that I only have this one life in this body, this precious human life. I'm not going to squander it on people who are just using me for validation and have that why bother mindset and constantly need those pep talks and all pep and no action. No, thank you. The next way that you know that you're deeply stuck in victim mentality and you're not stepping up is you repeat the same reasons over and over and over of why you can't do the thing. I won't even allow my clients, ask any of my clients that come to my studio or work with me one-on-one or on my app. No one says the words, I can't. They may say, I'm working towards this, or I'm trying to change this, or I'm shifting this, but no one says the words, I can't. The words that I can't are like the most disgusting low vibrational frequency words. And anything that you put the words I am in front of is your reality. So when you say the words I am, they better be creative. They better be high vibrational. And you can never put the words can't in front of the word I. because it's a creation energy. It has the vibrational frequency of creation for good or creation for nothing or creation for bad or creation for yucky, 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 fill in the blanks, right? So you know that you're in that cycle, that whirlpool, that hypnotic rhythm. If you keep saying like, I can't do this because fill in the blank. The next thing is I see this a lot on social media, and I see this a lot with, just like very mediocre people always blame other people's talents and gifts and like their advantages for why you can't do the thing. So some people will say like, oh, easy for her, like she's a Nepo baby, or she was born with a silver spoon in her mouth, or she was a trust fund baby, or, she was in the right place at the right time, or she met the right people, or blah, 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 blah. No one fucking has an advantage of you over you. We are all born. God gives us free will at our time of birth. I don't care what color your skin is. I don't care where you grew up. I don't care if your parents were poorer than poor. Everyone has free will. That free will may look like educating yourself. That free will may look like having to hustle a little bit harder than other people or put yourself out there differently than other people. But to use the excuse that other people have an advantage, fill in the blank, over you is victim mentality. And it's why you're leading, a mediocre motherfucking life. I could sit here and say, oh, my dad was an alcoholic and, I didn't grow up with a lot of money and I didn't have a lot of opportunities and, no one helped me out, or, I didn't have ABC fill in the blank. I could definitely say that. But guess what? I know that just being born in this day and age, in the United States especially, I have every advantage over most people in this world. All I need to do is know my purpose, show up every day and serve humanity, keep focused, don't let distractions into my periphery, and just surround myself with the right people and do the right things every day and do boring things. People think that being famous and wealthy and having abundance and opulence and freedom is about like being in the right place at the right time or like going viral on social media. No, it's not. It's about every day waking up and busting your tits and doing the boring fucking shit that moves the needle forward every fucking day. Stop waiting for God to come down and teabag you and just do the things every minute of the day that are going to get you closer to the thing that you desire. So, like I say all the time, I ask myself, is the thought I'm going to think, is the thing I'm going to say, and is the thing I'm going to do going to get me closer to or further away to the things that I desire? And if the answer is no, I don't fucking do them. It's that fucking simple, guys. It's that simple. The next way that And I hear this all the time and it fucking pisses me off. Guys, stop doing this and stop saying this because you're inviting more of this enemy energy and this evil eye into your life. People say, or they think, the world is made up to be against them. Everyone is against them, and that they're constantly surrounded by enemy energy. Like a lot of my Catholic Christian friends are like, oh, the enemy energy is really working overtime. The enemy energy is really hardcore. Every time that you say enemy energy, you're actually putting the evil eye on yourself. You are inviting evil, demonic, low vibrational frequency, dark entities into your life to fuck up your life more. When you don't believe that the enemy has anything over you, it shall not prevail. Right? Come on, guys. If you believe that there's an enemy energy out there to get you, then it's going to get you. If you believe that you are made in the image and the likeness of God and that you are divinely protected, then the enemy cannot harm you. The enemy cannot harm you. There's an old African proverb that says, if there is no enemy within, no enemy without can ever harm you. And it's true. Stop giving power to all these exogenous, extemporaneous things that people call enemy energy, because it's only true if you believe it's true. Oh, the next one, and this shit frosts my tits. People who replay the same painful stories that they're married to over and over and over without healing or without doing the things that they know are going to better themselves and that are going to get them out of that pain and they're going to finally heal that trauma. So many people are like, in 1772, I was fill in the blank. And that's why I can't do the things now. And it's like, dude, you know how much shit's fucking happened to me? You know how much abuse that I've gone through in my life and how much trauma I've endured? And look at me. I am here in my podcast recording studio, in my big, beautiful house with everything that I've ever dreamt of in my life right at my fingertips, because I divorced the story of I was with this guy who physically abused me and mentally abused me and was a narcissist and a gaslighter. I can do anything. Like I always say, like, you think you can hurt me? My mother was Terry motherfucking Boyd. Do you think you can fucking hurt me? Right? I divorce those stories. I learn from them. I know better. And then I do better. I don't keep blaming my past traumas and my painful story on why I'm not where I desire to be. Yes, I may use them as teaching tools here on the podcast, or more importantly, in my mentorship program, or on my app, or in a retreat or an event. But I use them as teaching tools and not as like, woe is me, feel bad for me energy. The next thing is they don't use encouragement and feedback with the highest, greatest good. So when someone gives you encouragement, or someone gives you constructive criticism, or someone gives you like really sound feedback, instead of using it and saying, oh, I got this really great feedback or this encouragement or this instruction, right? They say like, oh, can you believe this person said this to me? Like, how mean, how rude. Oh my God, they suck. Fuck them. Sometimes the hardest feedback is the best thing that you need to take you to the next level. Why can't we use that feedback to go to the next level? Why do we have to now make this a new narrative and a new story of like, the man's keeping me down and I'm not good enough, and see, like, they even validated like why this thing's not working. It's like, no, you take the feedback and then you do the things that it takes to go to the next level with that feedback. The next thing is why people are just really not stepping up and they're really deeply entrenched in victim mentality is they have zero boundaries and they tolerate anything that's put in front of them. And exactly because of those two things, that's why they are living the life that they're living. So many people I work with, they tolerate absolute malarkey and tomfoolery and bamboozlement on a daily basis, and then they wonder why their lives are trash. You guys, you have to have immaculate boundaries. Like I say in my book, Ambitchious, you have to know what you stand for, because if you do not, you will fall for anything. And you can't tolerate shit that is not for your highest, greatest good. If something makes you feel less than, if something just kind of goes up your ass a little bit sideways, that's because it's not meant for you. Stop tolerating just anything that people put in front of you. You have to have pristine boundaries. And when people cross the line, you need to call them out on their shit. You don't fucking move the line, because then you teach people how to treat you. And anything I'm saying here that's making you feel some sort of way, it's because you're feeling some sort of way because you know deep down inside that what I'm saying is loving and it's true. I'm saying this to you, bitch, for your highest, greatest good, not to put you down and make you feel worse about yourself. This is a fucking slap in the back of the head to say, wake the fuck up. You're running out of time. This is the time to step up or shut up. Stop just sprinkling your shit over everyone's lives instead of just taking your shit, shoving it back up in your ass, and standing in your power and saying, you know what? I don't have to tolerate any of this. I need to just put better boundaries in play. I need to tell people no. And the last reason where I channeled and came up with why you're not stepping up and why you're deeply entrenched in victim mentality is you don't even know what the hell you want in the first place. Go back to last week's podcast and listen to it again. What do you desire? What is your purpose? What the fuck do you want? Because if you don't know what you desire and you don't know what your dreams, goals, and aspirations are, the universe is not a mind reader. God is not a mind reader. Then you know what's going to happen. You're going to get the scraps. And then you're going to be like, wow, I'm living a fucking scrap life. Why do I always get the scraps? Why does everyone else get everything and I don't get shit? Because you are not commanding. You are not demanding. And you don't even know what you want in the first place. So the God and the universe is just giving you whatever little scraps that you are going to take. And that's the goddamn truth. Sorry to say, but I'm not sorry. Need a little sip out of my avocado glass after that one. Okay. So how do we get out of this? If you're in it, if you said yes to any of these things, many of you guys are going to resonate and relate to a lot of those items. If you want to truly be the HBIC of your ambitious life, we got to do the things to get out of that energy, to step the fuck up, right? Okay. How are we going to get out of it? This is how we're going to do it. We're going to build our self-confidence up by creating small daily wins. How do we do this? We have our bitch list. We know the things that if I do nothing else today in the world, and I just do those 3 to 5 things that are on my bitch list, I'm going to feel like a badass bitch. And anything else that's extra is just gravy. It's just icing on the cake, right? We're going to think about wins as little tiny chunks. So it's like, let's just say you desire to lose 50 pounds, to release 50 pounds. What are you going to do on a daily basis? You're not going to be like, oh, fuck the 50 pounds. You're going to be like, how do I lose 1 pound a week or 2 pounds a week or a couple pounds a week or whatever, right? How are you going to do that? You're going to say, okay, I'm going to do 8 to 8 on the Ambitchious app, or I'm going to, hire a coach or a trainer, or I am going to do whatever, fill in the blank. And you just do these little things every day. Hydrate, eat a certain way, work out, move your body, sleep, etc. And then sooner or later, one day you're going to wake up and you're going to hop on the scale and there's the 50 pounds going to be gone. Don't think of the big, chunk them down into little bite-sized small wins, and also celebrate those wins as they come. Don't wait to celebrate when you hit the 50 pounds or you make the $1 million. Celebrate when you have a $20,000 month, or you launch your new program on a Mighty Networks app, or you get hired to speak at a retreat or whatever. Then have a glass of champagne, then, have a little party or a get together. Celebrate the small wins, and that's how you build confidence. The next thing is, this is such a thing. Oh God, I want you to hear me right now. Less education, more execution. Everybody thinks that they always have to constantly be filling their brains with all of these tips and tricks and tools. And I need to learn more, and I need to read another book, and I need to read another book, and I need to watch another YouTube video. And I need to just fill my head with more and more and more and more and more. And the bottom line is, you already have everything inside of you right now to be the most ambitious HBIC of your life. The kingdom of heaven is within you now. What does that mean? God, when you were born, God placed everything that you need to be the best version of yourself inside of you. Stop looking for all this outside shit and just do the boring shit. Show up and execute. If you want to gain more followers on social media, make reels, post, do stories, ask people to follow you, right? Whatever. Make great content that helps serve humanity. If you desire to take your business from a brick and mortar and scale it up to a half virtual company, like I say, go to the people who know how to do it, hire those people, get their blueprint, have them help you. Execute, execute, execute. You do not need more education. Yes, it's wonderful to listen to podcasts like this and, go to retreats or events and have people speak victory into you. But so many people use that as fucking mental masturbation. They're just in a corner faffing, jerking themselves off, instead of taking the thing that they learned and using that momentum and creating greatness with it. Execution is everything. The next thing is, you're going to show up every day and you're going to serve others. Victims always are in a neediness and they always want to be given to by others and served by others. People who are stepping up and being ambitious get by giving. It's a law of reciprocity. Whatever you desire in your life, give out and you will get back. I didn't create the universe. I didn't create the laws. I just follow them. And if you follow the laws of the universe, like the law of reciprocity, then you are going to have a very abundant, wealthy, rich, joyful life. You're going to live ambitiously. So instead of being a needy victim, like, well, can I suck more and can I vampire more from other people? You're going to get a better life. You're going to receive more. You're going to experience more by giving to others, using your God-given gifts and talents to serve the world. And by serving the world, you get more and more back. So serving others is so huge. It's what I try to do every day of my life. The next thing is, and this is huge, guys, go to your fucking gratitude. Wake up in the morning and count your blessings. You may not be living in the home of your dreams right now, but thank God for what you have already. How can you receive more if you're not even grateful for the things that God has given you up to this point? And the only reason that you're not receiving more and experiencing more wealth and opulence and abundance and etc. is because you're not showing up in that vibrational frequency. This is the truth of manifestation. This is the truth of having the life of your dreams. You have to believe in it and you have to show up in a very specific vibrational frequency, and you have to show up as if you were already that person experiencing those things and achieving those things. So if you say, okay, if I was a millionaire, how would I dress? How would I show up? How would I speak? Who would I serve? How would I walk into a room? Who would I surround myself with? Be that person now, and then the universe can't help but by giving you that back in reciprocity, right? So going to your gratitude, counting your blessings, listing them out, journaling them, thinking about how grateful you are. Sometimes, I get so grateful during the day, I cry. Not because I'm sad, because I'm just, oh my God, I cannot believe, like Kate Young, the younger version of me would be so proud of me. She would be so proud of you. And the younger version of you out there in Ambitchious land, that young girl would be so proud of you. She would be so proud of you. If you had lunch with her, or if you had a mimosa with her, or if you sat with her at dinner or just on a bench and you guys had a conversation, if you could have a conversation with your younger self, she would be so proud of you. She would tell you to keep going. She would tell you to listen to me. Listen to Katie. She knows her shit. The next thing is you have to forgive. You cannot harbor resentment in your heart. You have to heal from the past traumas. You have to do the shadow work. You have to do the spiritual work. That is why I created the Ambitchious app. That is why I do healing sessions. That is why I do all these types of things, so that people can really start to go into that darkness so that they can come out as the new, fresh, alivened, and awakened versions of themselves. So do the forgiveness, do the healing work. The next way to step up is to divorce the story. Your story growing up, or as a younger person, or as the younger version of you, may have been horrible and traumatic and tumultuous and so disgusting and so scary, but that's not your reality now. You can remember where you came from, but you cannot hold on to that, and you cannot make it a part of your current life and your future life. Your past does not fit into your future. The past hurts only help you recognize and realize what you do not desire and how you're not going to show up and what you're not going to allow and the boundaries that you're going to put forth in this day and age. So divorce that story. I only have a couple more. I hope that this podcast is really resonating with you, because I'm saying it and it's resonating with me. And I'm like, damn, that's good shit, Katie. Keep going. The next one is take radical responsibility for who you are and where you are. You have to take ownership of your feelings. You have to take ownership of your shortcomings and your past failures and the narrative and the way that you're showing up and the stories that you're deeply, deeply, deeply connected to and entrenched in. If we just took radical responsibility for everywhere we are in life and who we are, and then we just said, you know what, but I don't have to be that going forward. I can choose a new choice. I can make a new choice. There is nothing more ambitiously empowering than that, right? And last but not least, and this is going to foreshadow next week's podcast, because I want you to make a list of all the shit that is fucking you up and all the things that are making you feel less than and not enough and is shaking your confidence and stressing you out and leaving you with depression and anxiety and anger and resentment and all the other low vibrational frequency ways that you may feel on a daily basis. You're going to make a list of all the things that are fucking you up. And then you have to make another list separate to that. We're going to do this on the next week's podcast of how you can systematically and strategically get rid of all of those things that are keeping you small, that are keeping you from your power, and that are keeping you from living as an HBIC in this ambitious life. And then strategically coming up with all of the things that no longer serve your highest, greatest good and how you're going to rid yourself of those things. Guys, I hope that this podcast resonated with you, and I will thank you deeply from the bottom of my little black heart if you could share this with as many ambitches as possible. Also, wherever you listen to podcasts, if you can leave a 5-star and written review and I can see it and I can say it on this podcast, I will send you the most beautiful token of my appreciation, a little gift from me to you to thank you for taking time out of your very busy life to give the Ambitchious Podcast some love. Because remember, if you're part of this community, if you're part of the Bitchterhood, and you are sharing this light and this podcast and this Ambitchious movement with other women all across the globe, And if we all stepped up and really decided to live life ambitiously, the whole world would change. So please share this. Don't forget to leave a written review, a 5-star review, wherever you listen to these podcasts. And I will thank you again from the bottom of my little black heart. And if you are ready to really do the work, scroll down to the show notes. Either one, purchase an Ambitchious app membership. You will not regret it. It will be the best money you've ever spent if you truly desire to be ambitious, to be the HBIC of your life. The things that we do over there are mind-blowing. No one in the coaching industry is showing up like me and knowing that no one is giving what I give for the amount of money that I charge. Or if you're really, truly ready to take your life and your business and your finances to the next level and have what I call the triple threat of freedom, scroll down to the show notes, email me at themisfitclub@gmail.com so we can set up a discovery call to see if working together in an ambitious business mentorship container is going to be the right fit for both of us. Because as you know, this is my purpose in life. This is my mission in life, to help women step into their power financially and live an opulent, wealthy, and abundantly ambitious life. So if you're ready for that, reach out to me so we can have that conversation. And in the meantime, don't forget to stay ambitious, and I will see you next Tuesday.